Hello and welcome to the 1/106th of a second photography podcast. In this episode today, I'm going to talk about what does a YouTube photography channel do when the person who makes it doesn't do photography. And that is a very long episode title, but it's essentially the position I find myself in. I have a photography YouTube channel, which I started way before I started doing the podcast. And I started doing the podcast because the YouTube channel didn't really give a discussion about photography, or it didn't really suit a long form discussion. So I wanted to do a podcast to talk more about photography. Come round to the recent pandemic and I'm not going out to do photography. When we weren't in the pandemic all that time ago, I would go out, I would do shoots, I'd do street photography specifically. I'd go places to do street photography. I do location fashion shoots, I do portraiture, and I do photography quite a lot, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, specialist trips out for photography. But then we had the pandemic and we're still in the pandemic, and I don't do photography because I don't go out to do those things. I don't go out and do portrait shoots, even though I could. I made a decision that I was not going to do that while there was a risk of coronavirus, and that's my choice. I could do a socially distanced shoot, but I'm not going to. One of the reasons for that is travelling. I often work and do things in London, and it was very difficult to get into London without using public transport. So I don't want to go in public transport. So I'm not going to be going to London to do street photography or portrait shoots or fashion shoots. And just generally, I'm not going to do it. There are other places I could go, but they're not as good. They're few and far between. And I've just decided to minimise my risk of coronavirus. So where does that leave me doing my YouTube channel? Now, one thing I did was I made sure that the photography podcast, this podcast, was consistent. I was putting out an episode once a week, and there have been times when I struggled to do that, but I've sort of resorted to doing an automated or computational method, and I managed to get something out when I was really struggling, having difficulties. But at the moment, I'm being consistent with my YouTube channel because I find I have more time. Ironically, because I'm not going out and doing so much photography, so I have a bit more free time to focus on my YouTube channel. But therein lies the catch. I have more time, so I can be more consistent, and I am being more consistent. I'm putting out an episode or a video once a week, but I can't go and do photography. Now, at the start of the pandemic, lots of creators were doing photography projects in the house as they got used to things. I found that really boring and it's unoriginal and everyone's done it, so I'm not going to be doing that. So what on earth will I do for my YouTube channel, and what have I been doing for my YouTube channel? Well, anyone who has a YouTube channel is as much a videographer as they are as someone who practices that specific hobby. You might have a YouTube channel about knitting. Well, you're still producing videos for the channel, so you're getting good at being a videographer if you're not already a good videographer. You'll get good at filming yourself, filming things, filming B-roll, editing, finding music, and all those other skills that go into making a good video. Even if it's not a good video, editing and putting all that together in a short space of time, which is what I do, or not taking ages, is a skill in itself. So you're going to be good at video stuff. And I started out way before photography in video, and then I switched to photography as well. And doing the YouTube channel sort of married the two, really. So what I've been doing is I've been focusing solely, or not solely, I've been focusing a lot more on video stuff. So I found it's been very easy for me to do reviews of video software. So that's what I've been doing. I've also been sort of updating my video software, and I've been doing reviews. I've been doing reviews of little video softwares I use to help me with the podcast. And really, it's the podcast promotion. So that's what I've been doing. And I think had I not done that, I wouldn't have really had anything to do for my YouTube channel. I wouldn't have been doing any product reviews because I wouldn't be buying anything to use, or I'd just be buying it to do a product review. There's only so much photo editing software you can get, so stuck indoors with not much to do, not going out, you would be really, really stuck. And thankfully I wasn't, because I switched. It's always been a photography and videography channel, but it's never been made explicit. I've never said this is a photography and a videography YouTube channel. It's called Big G Photo, so the clue's in the name that it's a photography channel. But I've often done video things, but now it's really been very video based. So I know other people will be maybe making more video because of the pandemic, because they're stuck in. So I've looked at various video editing softwares and this and that, and I've added those in and I've done reviews. Now, the majority of the reviews I've done of software have been softwares that turn up on Facebook and are advertised there and advertised on Instagram. And I've been really intrigued by them. They come over as like a hard sell, and they are a hard sell, and buy this, then buy that, and it's it's closing down, we're going crazy with the prices. That sort of way it's advertised. And I've been doing quite a lot of reviews of those type of softwares for video production. Maybe because they're becoming more prominent in the pandemic and people are doing video more and looking for an easy way to do it. But I've just been fairly intrigued by, are they any good? And the short answer is some are and some aren't. Some are terrible and some are great. And it's really difficult to know which is which. So I feel like I'm providing a bit of a service, because you don't get a free trial with these softwares. You get your money back if you don't like it, but there's no such thing as a free trial. So you do have to stump up a little bit of money. So I have been stumping up a little bit of money, doing a video review, and then if I think it's rubbish, I've been asking for my money back under the sort of money back guarantee. So, and because I've been enrolling in these things, I'm getting lots and lots of lovely emails to remind me when a new product comes out. So those have been very useful. I have done a review of a lens I bought as well in lockdown. Topaz sharpening, I've done a review of Topaz AI sharpening, I should say, a 360 camera, and yeah, that's probably it. The vast majority of other things are either Fimi Palm related or video production. Now, I bought the Fimi Palm, and you probably heard the review of it on this channel. It's not a photography camera, it's very much videography. It's essentially a copy of the DJI Osmo Pocket, but there's quite a niche area, and I seem to do a lot of videos on them because I like it. So I do a lot of videos on the Fimi Palm, and not only do I like it, but also there's been several firmware updates, and while one thing has improved, one thing has been not improved or made worse. So there's an awful lot to talk about and discuss with the Fimi Palm, how to get good audio and things like that. So I've been able to make an awful lot of videos on the Fimi Palm, and they've generally been very well received. There seems to be a sort of a good niche out there who like Fimi Palm stuff. So that's what you do really for a YouTube channel when you can't do a lot of photography, or you can't do meaningful, what I call meaningful, decent photography. You have to switch. So maybe you switch to the nearest thing that's close enough to your topic. So for me, it was videography. Has to be something that's accessible to me, has to be something that's interesting to me, has to be something that I think serves a use to people. So that's what I've been doing without doing photography. Now, would I rather do the videography stuff or photography? I'd rather do the photography. I'd rather be going out, doing photo shoots, doing street photography, but it's just not for me at the moment, and it's just something I'm not going to do, and I'm not going to risk it just for my YouTube channel, because it's not my income and it's not my livelihood, it's just something I do. So that's where I stand with that. I hope you didn't find that a boring episode. I hope you found that slightly interesting, but do let me know what you think. What have you had to sacrifice or give up on or change direction on because of the pandemic? Do let me know, and thank you. Goodbye.